Previously on this adventure, we met up with some good friends to take on some scenic and challenging forest trails. Did a little camping, and we even had to overcome a few challenges along the way. In this episode, we will put our rigs to the test even more. Explore some of the beauty California has to offer, search for another epic campsite, and of course, eat some good food, and yes, even encounter some more challenges. Stay tuned. I feel so blessed to be out at a site like this. I am so thankful for Adam and their crew leading us here. This is amazing. We had a great night last night, hanging around the campfire, eating some good chow, just talking about the day's events and all kinds of laughter. It was awesome. There's nothing better than a little camaraderie about the campfire. Now this morning was very chilly when we woke up, but now that the sun has come up, things are starting to warm up. We're getting ready to pack up our gear. Another one of their buddies just joined us. He's got a really cool Toyota Tacoma, so I'm looking forward to checking that out on the trail. We'll definitely capture some footage of that. This last little section of the trail that we're running today is called the Gauntlet. It's supposed to be kind of challenging, so we'll see how that goes. Looking forward to that. And then we're heading over to Deer Valley, and there's supposed to be some few obstacles there, but really there's supposed to be some lakes, some nice scenery. It should be beautiful. More of this, I'm hoping. What an amazing place. It's definitely some place I think Marco and I are already talking about coming back to.
Well, make sure
Before we headed out, Tyler with the Power Tank Jeep treated us to some delicious fried rice for breakfast that he actually cooked on a homemade scuttle that they had built right before this trip. It was a very cool little do-it-yourself project. And that savory hot fried rice really hit the spot on this cold, chilly morning. Of course, the TrailRecon barista was at work. I really enjoy caffeinating my friends. We soon packed up, ensured our fire was completely out, picked up around camp, and then it was time to head out. Today was gonna be epic. So we've come to a little V in the road here, and Josh, you've been running this trail for a long time. I think it's a really cool story about why we're going to the left. Can you tell everybody kind of how this happened? Why are we going this way and not this way?
Sure. So this trail's been out here for a long time, and this used to be the end of the trail. And basically, you'd run off, just go straight here, and you'd run through private property. So we were able to access the private property, and it was just kind of a smooth little through the woods deal. And the owners of the property decided, that they had had enough of the Jeeps going through and the dust and just people being out there. So they kind of shut off access to the public on the private property. And the group that runs the trail, the San Joaquin Jeepers, decided to create a new section of the trail. And it's now the new exit or entrance, whichever way you run it. So those guys and another groups of other people from the area formed this whole new section of the trail, and it's actually the most difficult part of the trail. They did a really good job. I think the intent of it was to make it difficult, to add some complexity to the trail, and so we're about to enter what's called the Gauntlet, and it's just rock, 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 and then you hook a hard left and boulders all over the place, and then you'll go to another section which is called the Rock Garden. You can bypass that, but the bypass is also difficult. So this part of the trail is my favorite part of the trail, and I'm really glad they added it, and I think they did a really good job with it.
Awesome. It's great seeing communities and off-road folks getting together to make things work out with everybody using the Forest Service and private property coming together. I think it's a great story, guys. Keep at it. If there's a trail closure in your area, I think there's ways to work through things, and I think this is a prime example. So this is the base of the Gauntlet, and you can see here just some boulders and rocks, and this will be pretty mild, but then you get to the top where these guys are kind of scoping out the line. Things are going to get pretty interesting. We're going to have to be very careful about where our tar placement is today. Our trail leader Adam was first up the Gauntlet, and he has gone up and down this section of trail many times and has built his Jeep to make easy work of this. When you reach the top, the direct left is the hard line, and of course that was the way he went because he loves pushing the limits of his Jeep. Marco and I have been wheeling for years, and watching him navigate an obstacle like this is a thrill. His Jeep is heavy, and it's a manual, so keeping everything in balance is really crucial on off-camber obstacles like this. This was probably the most extreme obstacle I've ever seen him wheel, and man, it was impressive to watch. That's what we built them for, buddy.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm
so excited, dude.
I was up next, and this trail to me really has the feel of the Rubicon. Flexing, banging, tight turns. This is the kind of stuff that brings a smile to my face, because being able to tackle an obstacle like this with a rooftop tent and all my camping gear is exactly why I overbuild my Jeep for overlanding, or in today's case, rockland. That's what we built them for, buddy. Nicely done. Good times. Back up. Up next was Steve in the Power Tank Jeep with his trailer, and up to this point he had navigated everything with no problems, and he's a seasoned veteran on this trail, so he knew what he was getting into pulling a trailer along here. But it was just getting over the hump here where he finally ran into trouble. So after a few attempts, we broke out the winch, because sometimes it's better to be safe than sorry. Once up and over, making the turn around after that tree just required a wide approach, and the rest was easy going.
Keep it going.
Perfect.
This Tacoma is a great looking truck and a solid build that is very capable. However, not having any lockers did put him at a little bit of a disadvantage. But look, with good tire placement and throttle control, sometimes you can get around just fine without lockers. He cleared the Gauntlet in short order, no issue. If you remember from the previous episode, CJ had sheared his front track bar completely off, and they were able to weld it up and add some ratchet straps to keep things nice and tight. We were keeping a good close eye on things and everything was going just fine until right about here. Unfortunately, the trail gods just were not favoring CJ on this trip. But look, when you wheel hard, sometimes things break. His drive shaft just didn't want to play anymore on slick rock. Thankfully, you can remove the drive shaft and still wheel around in two-wheel drive. So after pulling it and winching him through this obstacle and the next, and getting the last man up and over the gauntlet, we were finally cruising along the trail again. This was the hardest part of slick rock, but we did have a few more miles and a couple more obstacles that would need our attention before we hit the pavement and set out for Deer Valley. So I realized that the angle you were watching this from doesn't really look like that big of a deal. But this was downhill, making a sharp turn to passenger, and then that big step off. It felt really tipsy inside the Jeep. Marco, Ollie, and I can all agree this felt a little uncomfortable just because we're a little more top heavy than most, but taking our time and a little good spotting from Adam, no problem.
A slight little delay on our travels, so we did take the bypass just because we needed to save some time. But this is a pretty hairy obstacle up here. As we were coming up, there's XJ up here, which they just got done recovering, which, here, let's roll into that and then I'll show you something else that's pretty interesting.
There you go. Keep it, driver.
So pretty easy recovery, but this is the vehicle that they would have used to recover it. But if you look down here, let's peek in here for a second. They sheared off the knuckle. So they're not able to use this as a recovery rig. So now the XJ will probably be towing this guy home, but at least they're good to go now.
You will never talk to anyone about the gun.
Slick Rock is an amazing trail, and look, you need to have your vehicle built a little bit to get out there. You know, some oversized tires, some high clearance lockers are probably really going to be helpful, but worth it to get out there. You know, you're going to get a little flex, you're going to have a little fun, but the reward once you're out there on those granite slabs, the views, the camping, oh, I think we're definitely going to be coming back. All right, everybody is airing up, and then we're going to head out to Deer Valley, have a little lunch, and then go explore that trail. This is awesome. I don't know what's to come, but I know it's going to be amazing.
So it's good to have friends in the area, and Adam's buddy Keith is here with the trailer and is going to get CJ home. He's got some repairs to do, but I know he'll be out on this trail again soon. After hitting the pavement, we drove for a few miles, hit a store, fueled up, and just enjoyed another scenic drive. It wasn't long before we were at the Deer Valley Trailhead. Well, it's a beautiful drive out here just through the mountains and forest. We've arrived here at the Trailhead. There's actually a bunch of campsites here, so if you wanted to just come to this area and camp and then go explore, you could do that. But we're gonna head into the trail, into Deer Valley. It's supposed to be a little bit rocky, but not as bad as Slick Rock. And then there's some lakes and some scenery. We're just now airing down. Our bellies are full of lunch. We're gonna go hit the trail soon, guys. What an amazing adventure. Now, I'm pretty sure I remember Adam telling Marco and I that Deer Valley is an easy trail, but I'm not sure, driving the Jeep he has, that Adam fully understands anymore what an easy trail is. Now, this trail is easier than Slick Rock for sure, but there are still plenty of obstacles along the way that require oversized tires, high clearance, and excellent tire placement. The trail quickly climbs up the mountain and throws some fun and challenging obstacles at you. We're only about a quarter mile into the trail, but a little traffic jam and there's not a whole lot of room to go left or right. So we're trying to make it work. They've got 9 vehicles in the group that's coming down the trail and we've got 8. So we're letting them go past as best we can.
Okay, after this white Jeep, Marco, we're gonna back down and get out of here.
Deer Valley really is a fun trail, and admittedly this is my favorite type of terrain to wheel on. The beautiful forest, some fun obstacles, and plenty of tight trail. It didn't seem like it was long until we reached an opening on the side of the mountain that presented some views that will take your breath away. It's crazy the different types of landscapes you will find here in California. You know, this state may have plenty of things it needs to improve upon, but the landscapes for wheeling is not one of them.
Mark, I'm gonna wait right here.
So this trail reminds me a little bit of the Rubicon. And you know, it's not a marathon where you're just constantly rock crawling. Oh, and I'm going through a little section here. Hang on a second, one second, let me just get over this. But there's plenty of rocks to keep things interesting. And I've been in 4 low ever since we started this trail. And for a trail like this where you're not going more than, you know, 10, 15 miles an hour, you might as well just stay in 4 low. So that way you're not shifting back and forth. I've used my lockers several times already, but that's all right. That's what they're there for. Could you make it without lockers? Yes, but you're gonna have to bump it a little bit. This is a fun trail. It definitely reminds me of the Rubicon, just not quite as hard.
The trail so far has been beautiful, but you've got to pause every once in a while and just soak it all in. How majestic is this? This is beautiful. I cannot believe we're in California, guys. This is amazing.
Roger that.
So truth be told, this is actually my favorite type of trail. You know, we're in the forest, on the dirt, and there's some rocks and some scenery. Just varies in the terrain a little bit. You know, it's nice and stretches of dirt road, and then we're hitting the rocks, and then we're winding through the trees real tight. This is exactly the type of trail I love. Look, I love being out in the desert. I love being out in Moab. Those are all amazing places. But this, honestly, this is kind of where my heart is when it comes to off-roading.
So Ollie just called on the radio and said, hey, I think I lost my power steering. And so we've just kind of stopped here to kind of reassess. I think it's just getting pretty hot, hitting all these rocks, the altitude. We're just gonna give it a break here and then try to head on, but it looks like everything's okay.
Well, I will tell you this. Deer Valley is a trail that's going to be on my return list because this trail is beautiful and I love this type of terrain. And tomorrow it's supposed to be just kind of easy and scenic, so we're going to get that tomorrow after we cross the river. But we found a nice campsite. There's a little river here that apparently is usually a lot fuller than this, but you can look down and actually see some brook trout fishing, swimming in there. So if you want to do a little fishing, you could. We're going to set up camp, get a campfire going because there's a little snow on the ground, so we're definitely going to need to stay warm tonight. And I know Marco has got dinner plans for us. This really was a great camping site for our size of a group, which allowed plenty of room for us all to kind of spread out a little bit. As soon as the sun dropped behind the mountains, the temperature dropped pretty quickly. So everyone huddled around the fire and Marco started working his magic.
All right, buddy, before we talk about dinner, what'd you think about the trail today?
It was awesome. I had a blast. I think it's one of the best weekends that I ever had this year.
Yeah, it was an
awesome.
amazing trail. I think we need to come back. What do you think?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
What's for dinner? I know there's a hungry crowd behind me.
I know. I got cod with
Okay.
vegetables
Yeah.
in foil paper with my mix of stuff there.
Not going to give away all your secret sauces?
Yeah, well, it's just the regular stuff that I use. Salt, pepper, onions.
Simple stuff.
Simple stuff.
Going to be tasty.
And Old Bay.
Old Bay. Got to have the Old Bay.
That's the secret.
All right, man. Well, I know this crowd over here around the campfire is hungry. And what a good night, huh, guys?
Yeah, awesome. Great day too.
This was a nice, easy meal for feeding a large group, and it didn't take long to cook all the fish up. And everyone was very thankful to have a good meal at camp.
You can't buy better fish than this.
Steve's chowing over here. He's not even coming up for air.
It's really good.
Like it.
I like the
mix.
bok choy stuff.
Oh, the bok choy is good.
Well, that's, oh, look at that butter. That's my stuff.
That's healthy butter, dude.
The real stuff?
With all the vegetables cancel out all the butter.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Marco.
You're welcome, guys.
Marco, thank you for dinner, buddy.
Yes,
delicious, man.
thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Wow.
This had truly been a memorable day with good friends. The next morning was cold and we were having a casual start to the day. Tyler, once again, cooked up another hearty breakfast, which was delicious and everyone was very thankful for. that wraps up an amazing weekend. Adam, thank you so much for putting this together, for leading us through. Marco, Ollie, and I, man, to be able to wheel in some different places up here in Northern California has been a blessing, man. This is awesome. I cannot wait to come back, dude. Thank you so much. You are blessed to be here.
It's beautiful up here. They call it God's country for a reason. I'm glad you guys came up, and just to see you guys' smiles, and every day, you know, talk about the little stories, how much fun it was or challenging it was. It just made it worth it to me.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, man. You have a great group of folks here to wheel. Guys, if you get the opportunity to come up here to Northern California and wheel some of these trails, definitely take full advantage of it. Look, Adam and I did a full walk around video of his Jeep a while ago. I will leave a link down below. You can go check that out if you want more details on his build. If you're visiting TrailRecon for the first time, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a member of the TrailRecon team. Thanks for watching.